Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we are going to be doing a Valentine's Day inspired makeup look. Today's look I really want to be all about just a healthy, beautiful, glowing skin with very light coverage only where you need it, and then just a soft feminine looking eye, a touch of pink on the cheeks, tiny bit of bronzer, and a nice feathery looking eyebrow. That's the goal today. That's what we're going to try and create. This is the type of look that I think if you have a special someone in your life, whether that's a spouse that you've been married to for years and years, or a first date, or whatever the case, this is a makeup look that I think even a non-makeup lover would appreciate. So this is something that's not going to look very detectable, very heavy. That's kind of my goal here, is to create something that just looks naturally pretty. So for this video, I am going to be using my ColourPop All I See Is Magic palette to achieve the look on the eyes. I will give you guys some options though, because I have quite a few drugstore and even a high-end option that you may have in your collection if you don't have this specific palette, because this palette is no longer available from ColourPop. So hopefully that sounds interesting to you guys. Here is the look that we are going to be creating today. Very soft, natural looking, very feminine, just a tiny bit of smokiness on the eye. And again, I think this is just a look that really anybody could pull off, both in the way that it looks and also in application technique. It's pretty simple. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Before we do, I want to welcome any of you that are new. I hope that you will hit that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to clip the hair back and get ready to go in with our foundation. So today we're going to be starting with the base because the eye is very, very soft and simple today. So I would recommend just picking the foundation that you think looks the most natural on your skin. For me, I've selected my IT Cosmetics Illumination CC Cream. I love this foundation. It's one of my favorites. Anytime I have a special occasion or a date, this is the foundation that I will use. So I'm just going to take one pump of that and I'm going to kind of just distribute that on my face. Oh, I haven't used this for a while and I forgot how much I love the smell of this stuff. So I'm just taking my Luxie round top blender brush to blend that out. And I did just apply moisturizer, and I also spritzed a little bit of my hyaluronic acid rosewater spray on my skin just to make sure my skin looks really nice and hydrated underneath my foundation, because we're going really light with the foundation and just applying concealer where we need it, because I really want my skin to look like skin and look soft and natural. In case I'm up close kissing someone on Valentine's Day. Someone, my husband. That sounded sketchy, but I'm talking in general. If I was doing a drugstore foundation, I would probably personally pick the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation, perhaps the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. That one's not quite as illuminating, but it does look very natural and skin-like. Those are two that I would recommend from the drugstore. Okay, so there is a light layer of foundation. For my concealer, I'm going to take my Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. This is in the shade Vanilla. And I'm just going to apply a touch of that right on that inner part of my eye right there where I have that shadow, because I don't want any shadows on my eyes. I want my eyes just to look nice and bright, but not too heavy. And then I'm applying a little bit right here because I do have pigmentation right there. Just anywhere you have discoloration, but just don't apply too much. You can always go back and apply a little bit more. You can use a sponge if you prefer to use a sponge. That concealer definitely works really well with a sponge as well. Now I'm just putting on a touch of powder. I'm using the RCMA No Color powder, just a little bit down the center of the face, tiny bit here on the cheeks, and then what's left I take that right under the eye area. It did take a little bit of the shine away in the center, but everywhere else I feel like the finish is still nice and dewy, nice and glowy, but hopefully that will help us set things in place just a little bit. So moving on to bronzer, I'm going to take my Profusion Contour Palette, which is in my everyday makeup bin. I've been really enjoying this contour palette lately. I'm going to combine these two shades here. So this one's a little warmer, this one's a little bit deeper and cooler. I'm going to take that on this Morphe M527 brush. And I want to use this brush because it's kind of flatter, so I really want this to be more of like a soft, subtle contour than a bronzer all over. So I'm just going to take it and put it right in the where the hollow of my cheek is, and just kind of pull it back and forth and slightly upwards. I don't want to pull that down too far. I want that to stay on just this outer portion of my cheekbone. By the way, thank you to all of you that gave me bronzer brush recommendations. I really appreciate it. And I've kind of saved those comments. I'm going to go look into some of those one of these days and find a new bronzer brush. I did though recently use this Aesthetica one per one of your recommendations, and I really did enjoy that one. The only thing I didn't like as much about this shape of a bronzer brush, which is more of like a round brush, I really love that for the cheekbone area, but I like the flatter type of brushes for the forehead. I think that's partly because I'm just used to using that shape of a bronzer brush. I mean, my old bronzer brush, I've been using that for like 6 years or so. And that's just kind of the shape that I'm used to using up there. I know I'm looking so different with my straight hair. My curly hair will be back next week. So now I want to apply my highlighter next. I'm going to use my Makeup Revolution highlighting drops, or liquid highlighter. I think that's what these are called on Ulta's website. This is the color Champagne. So I'm going to take just a tiny bit of that on the back of my hand. I'm going to be a little bit generous with this thing. So I'm going to just tap my finger in that. I like to start a little bit lower on my cheekbone and then kind of pull upwards. I find that if I start too close to my eye, I get product too close to these crow's feet that I have right there. I'm going to take another layer and we're going to just kind of layer this thing up. I like to take it there, and then I'm going to kind of take it on my brow bone, but also slightly right above my eyebrow right there. Just so hopefully, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I love that because you really can only see it if it catches the light in just the right way, and that's how I like a highlight to be. Alright, so I am really liking how the skin is looking right now, so I think I want to go and do my eyebrows next. So I want my brows to be nice and feathery looking today, so I'm going to start off by applying this clear brow wax pencil from e.l.f. I will link this in the comments below. I always forget the name of this thing, but it's basically just like a clear wax. I'm going to put that in my brows first, and then we're going to brush through them and kind of apply the product. So the pencil I'm going in with today is the ColourPop Brow Boss pencil in the color Taupe. I'm going to start by brushing my brows upwards. We're going to fill the underside in first. I'm going to work this arch right here because that's where I have the most sparseness, is right in my arch. But I don't want my arch to be too harsh either, so I'm kind of trying to like round it a little bit. And then fill in the tail. Brush through those. And then I want to add just a little bit more on just that top inner corner of my brow, so I'm going to add a little bit more up there as well. And again, just kind of brush through those. Alright guys, so there are the finished brows. I'm going to wait to set those in place when we're done with everything, just so they don't move around while I'm doing my eyeshadow. So let's move into the eyes. I'm going to take my Marc Jacobs Undercover eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to start with just a tiny bit of this on just kind of right where my crease is, because this is where my eyeshadows occasionally tend to crease, is right there. And because I want this look to be really soft and very blended, I am going to set that primer with a translucent powder. And now let's go ahead and jump into the eyeshadow palette. So today we are really just concentrating on kind of mainly these 3 shades right here. So I have something else I'm going to be putting on the lid to add the shimmer. So really just concentrating on these mattes. We have a nice dusty kind of pink. We have this medium tone sort of dusty purple, and then we have this deep kind of burgundy color. So again, this is the All I See Is Magic palette from ColourPop. I know this palette is no longer available, which is so unfortunate because this palette is so amazing. But if you do not have that palette, I'm going to give you guys a couple of other options. Another one that could give you a similar look is this one, also from ColourPop, which is still available, I believe. This is the You Had Me at Hello palette. This one has those same similar colors. You have this kind of dusty sort of purple color, which I'm going to put these next to each other. You guys can see those 2 shades right there are very, very similar to one another. You also have the nice kind of deeper purple in here. You don't have the dusty pink, but you could use a blush, or you could just honestly use this as your transition color instead. Give you a little bit different of look, but very similar. Another one you could use is the Makeup Revolution Reloaded Vitality palette. So this one you can see has that same sort of dusty purple color. You have a deeper pink in here, but you definitely could combine these two probably to get a similar color. Not an exact dupe, but definitely will give you a similar type of look. And one more I'd recommend for you guys is the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. I know this one is a little bit higher end, but if you happen to have this in your collection, I think this definitely could give you a similar type of look. I will say though, this is a very pigmented palette, so if you want the look to be very soft, you're going to want to go in with a very, very light hand. Otherwise, this palette will probably give you a little bit more dramatic and deep of a look than the other palettes that I mentioned, but still a beautiful palette and has those similar type of shades. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. I'm going to start off by going in with this shade right here. You definitely could use a blush for this as well, and I'm going to take that on my Morphe M504 brush, and I'm going to pop this right above my crease. It's a very soft color. You definitely need to kind of layer this one up to get it to really show up. Hopefully that's picking up on camera. It's so pretty. Oh, I love these colors. So hopefully you guys can kind of see just that soft pink look that we have in that transition area right there. Now we're going to go in to the color right next to it, which is kind of the dusty sort of grayish purple color. And I'm going to take that on a Morphe M505 brush. You actually could use the same brush. I'm going to take that just a tiny bit lower than the previous shade. I'm not going to blow that out quite as much. I'm going to keep that kind of concentrated right in that socket area. I'm going to kind of pull it downwards towards my lash line as well. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my kids running upstairs. I keep texting my husband to tell him, tell the kids to stop running, it's so loud down here. But you have 4 kids at home on a Saturday afternoon, running is going to happen. So now I'm going to take the Morphe M507 brush. This is just a very small pointed blending brush. You really could use any smudge type of brush or lower lash line type of brush for this. I'm going to take that same color. I'm going to start running that on the lower lash line. And I'm just pulling that halfway across. I want to keep the inner part of the eye nice and bright and open. Then you can use what's left on that brush just to kind of round out that shape right there. Because I don't want any harsh edges. I want this to be really soft and round. And now I'm ready to add just a little bit of depth to the outer corner. So you could do this 2 ways. If you want it to be a little bit more neutral colored, then you could definitely go in with kind of like a warm, deep brown. But I think I'm going to go a little bit more purple. I'm going to take this purple color right here. We're adding just a tiny bit of this. I'm taking that same Morphe M507 brush, and we're just on the very tip of it. I'm going to start applying it right above the corner of those upper lashes right there. I'm just kind of swirling it right there, kind of slightly in and slightly up. So hopefully you can see that just adds a tiny bit of color and depth in the outer corner, but it's in a very small area, so it's not very over the top or intense. I feel like it's still very subtle, but definitely gives you that kind of depth and intensity that I think is so pretty. Alright guys, so there it is. You definitely can see that purple there, but I do still think it's very soft and very pretty, and I think that once we put the glitter on and once we put some mascara on, I really think it's all going to kind of just come together again. That's my hope anyway. So I'm actually going to go in with a little bit more of this kind of dusty purple, and we're going to put that right on top of what we just put down, just to kind of blend it all together and soften everything. Now I'm going to take a clean, this is just a clean cotton pad. It doesn't have anything on it. It's dry, and I'm just very lightly rubbing it on the corner of my eye right there, just to get rid of anything that blended below where I really wanted it to blend. This will just kind of take any of that excess shadow off, kind of clean up that line without making it too harsh. So now we're going to go in to the glitter. This is the fun part. So today I'm going to use my Stila Glitter and Glow. This one is in the color Monarch. I've got to show you guys this color. It is so fun and pretty. You can see it's kind of this like iridescent. It has some pink, it has some gold, it has a touch of green in there. Such a fun, very, very pretty glitter. I haven't used this one yet, so hopefully this will go with this eye look. But I'm just going to start at the inner corner, and I want to just put that just about halfway in. So I'm going to put just a little bit more on this side. I feel like this side didn't get quite as much. So that's it for the Glitter and Glow eyeshadow. I think that is so pretty. I will say though, with these, I think they work best if you just kind of lay them down and just don't mess with them too much. The more you kind of try to go back over it, the more things kind of start to shift and move around. You'll get patches where you have no glitter and patches where there's too much glitter. If you just let the wand do the work and just kind of lay it down, tap out the edge, that's really all you need to do with these, and I find that works the very best. Now I'm just going to add a bit of liner to my upper waterline only, and then I'm going to put a couple coats of my Maybelline Lash Sensational on, and I will be right back. Alright guys, so there are the eyes finished. I really love how they turned out. I forgot to mention, if you do not have a glitter to put on your eyelid, that is okay. You definitely can use a highlighter or something just bright and shimmery instead. For example, you could actually use that Makeup Revolution highlighter. You do have to give that thing a good 30 seconds to set once you lay it down and tap it on. But once it sets, it does not budge. You could also use ColourPop's Flexitarian or Smoke and Whistles, or really any highlighter that you have. That would also work really pretty on the lid as well if you do not want to go the glitter out. So I did set my eyebrows in place as well, and now I want to move on to the rest of the cheeks. So I want my cheeks to be a little bit glowy and pink, so I'm going to take Flower Beauty's Warm Hibiscus. So I'm going to take just a touch of this and add it just right kind of high up on the apples of my cheeks. Alright, so there are the cheeks. Now let's go ahead and move into the lips. So for my lips, if I'm going out on Valentine's Day, I want something very low maintenance, either a bullet lipstick or just a pencil and a gloss. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to go in with a lip liner. This is the Milani Color Statement Lip Liner in the color All Natural. This is just a soft, basic kind of nude. I'm just going to slightly overline my lips. And I like to take just my clean finger and kind of just smudge that and push that into my lips a little bit more. And on top of that, I'm going to take my NYX Butter Gloss in the color Vanilla Cream Pie. This is a very pretty, very pink. Once you sheer it out on the lips, it's really, really pretty. Another good one from NYX is their Tiramisu Gloss. Or Creme Brulee is a good one. This one's just a little bit more pink. Hoping it's not too pink. Alright you guys, and here is the finished makeup look. I really love how this one turned out. I think it's just very soft and pretty and natural. I mean, not like natural as in like no makeup look, but it's definitely not over the top. This is something I would feel comfortable around anybody wearing, and I think would look good on absolutely anyone. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that you guys have a great Valentine's Day. Let me know what you guys are doing for Valentine's Day if you have any plans. And don't feel bad if you don't, because I may not either. I may be watching a basketball game that night. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by, for watching this video. I appreciate it so much. If you are new, again, hit that subscribe button before you leave. I hope that you'll stick around. Have a great Valentine's Day, you guys, wherever you are, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye. It's not super intense, and it's not... I don't know what I'm saying. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Valentine's Day. That sounds so bad and mean. My husband watches my videos and I'm sure I just hurt his feelings. Ugh.